So, without further ado, I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce. This is another in a series of live broadcasts enjoying the creative sounds of music and harmony. Hope you enjoy. Don't touch that dial. Keep it locked. Tuned in and turned on.
Welcome to the Talk Dirty to Me podcast with the Maestro. Not just numbers, not just stats. It's about what they mean. And now, your host, the Maestro.
Hello, and welcome to episode 3 of the Talk Dirty to Me podcast with the Maestro. That's me. And I want to thank you, everybody, for checking out, as you always do. Please check out other great podcasts that we hear on SimWorld Hoops. But this is the one that so many have been waiting for. I know I have. And that is the one where we get into our top dirties of the season. So we're going to get some honorable mentions out the way first, after we explain exactly what the dirty is. So the dirty stat line, for those of you who are maybe not be familiar with at this particular point, is someone who gives their teams points, rebounds, assists, steals, and blocks. And when I am officially inaugurated as president of the continental Atlantic Ocean, I will make the charge a constitutional amendment that it should be a stat, and I'm going to put together my own crew of 5,000 stat people to go back to the history of time to make sure that everybody who took a charge gets that stat on their stat sheet. I'm going to change basketballreference.com and everything else, but that's just me. Okay. So let's get to those honorable mentions and those cats who are doing everything they can to help their team. We did about total number of dirty stat lines for the season, as well as impact on your team and how you were able to sort of turn things around for your team. So, in our honorable mention columns, we have Tyson Simpson with Beyond the Arc with 6. Rated one of the top players all year. He's able to bring it, and he has help because he's not the only one on his team. He's one of 6 players on his team with dirty stat lines. The closest to him being Christian Kelly at number 4, and Beyond the Arc sitting number 2 in their division. It shows you how much it helps them move forward. The ill. Got to talk about my ill. That's what we do. Marcus Lofton with 5. And he says 5. Yes, 5 dirty stat lines. But he had 6 games. 6 games where he was one stat shy. He was one stat shy in some spot, whether it was getting an assist in one game, in a couple of games, whether it was getting a block in another game, but he was 6 games shy of having one stat where where that 5 number could have been 11. And that tells you a guy that even though their team it happens to be in last place, those guys aren't playing like it. I say that all the time. It's SimWorld Hoops. Everybody brings it every night. You got to respect it. And that's exactly what he does. And what does it mean? It means that you got to face everybody. You got to face them hard. Now, one surprising note is a new player on the ill, Jermaine Owens. I'm going to give him a shout out for only having 4. But he did that 4 in 5 games at the time of this recording. That's 4 dirty stat lines in 5 games. I'm going to tell you something that kind of stats out really well, doesn't it, across the table? That's going to be great to see what's going to happen here. For Asia Pacific, Steve George, he has 7. And you can say what you can about Steve George and Asia Pacific, but I'm going to say this. They're a team that they have a total of 10 dirty stat lines. He has 7 of them, which means he is doing, regardless of where the team is placed, he's doing everything he has to do. It's great to see. Always fun to watch him play. The Queen City Kings have with Dante Odom. Dante Odom is rocking 6 dirty stat lines for the season. And we know what that means for them. You know, the Queen City Kings are one of those teams that nobody wants to play if they can help it. And he is one of the big reasons why. He's getting support. He has 3 teammates that all have at least one. Well, all have only one dirty stat line, which means as they go, so does he. And I think that was from one of the articles that I wrote earlier on in this season. So fact check me on that one, everybody, please. He's definitely doing what he can do to lift his team up. The originators hold two people in the honorable mention spot. That's Gerard Quinney, and Tyrone Snyder. Quinney has 6, Snyder has 5, and the originators, one of the strongest teams so far of the season, have multiple players with multiple digit uh, dirty, dirty stat lines. DJ Wagner with 2, Kadarius Lofton with 2, and we're going to get to one of their other players here later with some stats that I found super interesting to see. And it's no doubt that he's a big reason. These two players are a big reason that their team is resting at number one, the top of their division, just waiting in the Arctic division, just waiting to see who can even come close to them this year. Great leadership on the sideline and everything else, and it shows on the floor. Southeast Select brings us another player that we've talked about a lot for a lot of great reasons. That's Kadarius Stack Jr. has 7, as of this particular game, 7 dirty, dirty stat lines. That is a player that, again, everyone really loves seeing what they bring to the table. They also are ranked number one. He's also not alone. He's being trailed by multiple teammates with at least 1 and 2 dirty, dirty stat lines for the year. That's a team that has a balanced attack, and they prove it on a nightly basis, and he leads them with those 7. Again, a team that is awesome to watch. To see them playing ball like that, it's going to be hard to see them even slowing down as we get to the race to 1. Another player that we're going to talk about here today is Juwan Hudgens. Juwan Hudgens has 5 for DMV. Now, again, DMV, he has a lot of players with him with multiple dirty, dirty stat lines, including Malik Duffin, who has 4 to his 5. Very strong duo there, followed by 6 other players, which gives DMV a total of 8 players that have put up dirty, dirty stat lines this year in multiple games. It does not translate it to wins the way you think it might have, but they're a very solid team. And oh, by the way, not looked upon lightly by anybody. And you can see why when you bring a bench that strong. That is one of the measurements that we see with teams that are able to bring it and be able to bring it hard every night. And we talk about how that sort of translates out to the team's positions. Believe it or not, the team that has the most players with the dirty, dirty stat line is the Heartland Zombies with 9. They have 9 players that are rocking a dirty, dirty stat line so far this season. Unfortunately, it's happened in a case for them where those games have had low outputs across the table. And though you might have 9 players that do it, they've only had 2 players to do it on the same night once, but the output being so low, it doesn't truly support the team, which means no one else is stepping up to at least put the ball in the basket. Great playing, a lot of heart going across the table, but that's a dirty, dirty bench. You got 9 players that's going to give me that. Man, that's a dirty, dirty bench I'll have any day of the week with 9.
The next 2 teams have 8, the Best Coast Ballers and Run DMV.
Those players and those benches have had higher output that has translated to wins in some cases, and they've had multiple dirty dirties that have happened on the same night, which is great to see. So they also get in a vote for the dirty dirty bench of the year. It's going to be great to see these 3 teams kind of duke it out toward the end to see who's going to be my dirty dirty bench of the year. Followed by Southeast Select at 7 with a double D stat line, and it's translated into 19 games. They are number one for a reason because it's balanced and they're all strong across the table in terms of the output that we're getting from those guys. And then lastly, on the with teams that are rocking 6 dirty dirty players each this season, we have to go with the Bay Area Breakers, Cascadia, Latin America, South America, Showtime, the Ill, Gulf Coast, and Beyond the Arc. So players are being able to put it out for their team. Players are being able to do it, and benches are coming together to stroke. Because anytime you have more than 5 players, which means that work ethic is bleeding over into the bench. I love a bench that works hard. I love a bench that's dirty. I'm just going to say it just like that. Let's get it. Let's get some. Let's just go on and take it to the house here a little bit for this first half of this particular episode, because we're going to talk about the top dirty, dirty team of the season coming right back here on Talk Dirty to Me with the Maestro.
Thank you for listening to the Talk Dirty to Me podcast with the Maestro. Want to get involved? Bring it in. Drop in discord.gg/SimWorld NBA. If you have the brain, join as a coach. If you have the game, join as a player. See the game, be the game. But now, back to Talk Dirty to Me with the Maestro.
Once again, for the Soul Children's String Section.
Let's get back to some wonderful sound.
And welcome back to episode 3 of the Talk Dirty to Me podcast, episode 3, featuring our Dirty Dirties. And let's talk about those Dirty Dirties, my top Dirty team. These are the guys who put out not only some of the most numbers of Dirty games for the season, but they've also done the most they can do to move their team forward. So let's hop right into it. One of our first players that we've got to talk about here, right off the cuff, is H-Town Aaron Payne. With 8 dirty stat lines, he has 3 teammates that are falling right behind him, but that is another team that has equal output across the table, and he is definitely leading the way. Get it done there, Aaron Payne. Good job. Another player for us that's getting it done is Lone Star's Derek Long. He has 9 dirty stat lines, right? In his 9 dirty stat lines, he's had not one, but 2 streaks of 4 dirty games in a row. That means there's all gas, no brakes. Derek is doing everything he needs to do to make sure that his team is in position to be successful. There is no excuse. There is nothing else going on. He's bringing that effort every night and is showing with his team being 2. That is 2 in the Savannah division. And what you love seeing about that is he also has 3 teammates that have at least 2 dirty stat lines this season. So that means there is balance across the table that is being profitable, being contributory, and is excellent in what it's offering that team. So good job there, Derek Long. Another person here making our dirty list that is really showing us what it's about every night, and that is D'Angelo Mudo. He has 10. He has 10 dirty stat lines, and he's had streaks of 3 and 4 games. One streak of 3 games, one streak of 4 games, where he's had that dirty stat line going for the AT Aliens. Number 3 in the toughest division, in my opinion. I'm going to keep saying that until somebody proves me wrong. In the Savannah division, you see a theme coming here, right? Number 3 in the Savannah division. But what does that mean? That means that is a team that every single night has an opportunity to be in there. And it's one thing that we can say in that division. Did I say have help? You need help in that division to make it count and to make it work, right? So, and that's what he's getting done every night. So it's really awesome to see. Well done by him. Okay, so let's keep moving forward. Another player who is able to bring it for his team every night and makes absolutely no bones about what he does, and that is Bronny James with 11. 11 dirty stat lines this year, always putting Showtime in a position. They are number 3. They're number 3 in their division and climbing. It's going to get better. A lot of people were expecting more out of them, but you can't expect more out of that effort that they put in every single night. It is awesome to see. It is amazing to experience. And Bronny James is one of those leaders that brings it for his guys every single night, in one way or another, showing that yes, I can put the ball in the bucket, but I can also do what I need to do for my team across the table to help us win. And also it helps when you have backup with a player like Corey Yams, who brings 7 dirty stat lines so far this year, and then 4 other players with at least 1 dirty stat line. So it's great to see that we have that solid effort across the table that's starting to come into form as we get ready for the race to 1. Again, we'll take a look at Rocky Mount with Daquan McDougal III. He has 8 dirty stat dirty stat lines this year. When you talk about a team that wants to put in what they need to put in, and Rocky Mount, one thing I like about them is they tend to win however they need to win. So you have him giving you 8, and he only has 2 other teammates that have given him at least 1, and that's including Lucas Banks, who's given him 4 in terms of being able to get some backup there. That is awesome to see. It's awesome to see because the one thing Rocky Mountain was able to do is tell you how they can spread out their effort across the other stat lines and hold that number 1 spot in the Frontier Division. When you have a player that makes it that easy, you can win any way you need to win as you move forward. Now, looking at another person on the list here that I could not leave out. I just couldn't do it, and I wouldn't have done it anyway. Unfortunately, though, it doesn't show up in his team's wins this year. Well, they're sub 500, and they're not in a position to looks like make a overt impact on the race to 1. He is doing everything he can to make sure South America has something to say about it, and that is Patricia Ramirez. 14 dirty stat lines this season, including 12 in a row. 12 in a row where he has brought all he can to the floor for his team. And again, basketball is a team sport. You need help, you need backup, and unfortunately, without it, what his stat lines have turned into is just a show of his heart. Pure, straight hustle, no doubt, no nothing. Take it all day. That's exactly what you want to see. And again, he too, regardless of the situation, shows you what SimWorld Hoops is all about. He brings his game every night. He brings his heart. He brings it hard, and he leaves it on the floor. And that's just what SimWorld Hoops is all about every single day. Well done for you, Patricia. Good job. All right. So now let's talk about our final 2. 1, for the originators, Viktoras Ilgauskas, with 13 dirty stat lines this season. Now, they are number 1. But we've talked about his help that he has across the table, which adds to that in terms of the work of Quinny and Snyder, but also Kadarius Lofton and DJ Wagner. That team is more solid and gets more solid every single game, and it is a absolute joy to see. Great off the court leadership with Coach Dodd, and Victorious definitely exemplifies that by bringing what he needs to bring every single night, no matter what else is going on. And he puts down those dirty stat lines. In this case, so far this season, 13. And last but not least, I'm sure the name a lot of you are waiting for. I know he was waiting for it because he told me. He actually said it. So here you go. Yes, Trey Hyman of the Bay Area Breakers. Now, let's just say it is what it is. The Bay Area Breakers are also one of the strongest teams across the table in SimWorld Hoops, and they too bring it every single night. He also has help with in the likes of Xavier Pope, Ronnie Shanahan, Curtis London, Adonis Knight, the coolest name in SimWorld Hoops. I'm just going to have to say it. And now his brother, Sean Hyman, though a late addition to the team, already has 3 dirty stat lines for this season. But the reason Trey Hyman holds this particular spot is not just the position of the team, it's what he's done overall for the game. He has held not only himself in the top 10 in multiple categories for SimWorld Hoops, offensive categories and defensive categories for SimWorld Hoops. He's also led the league at many points in rebounding, and he's been within the top 10 in scoring and some other points as well, and he's averaging a double-double. Bringing that kind of game every night, doing whatever you need to do for your team, that's what propelled him into the early lead, and he's been maintaining. Got to give him credit, and he's been doing it the right way. Again, great team ball, a team that's also coming into form as we get ready for the race to 1. Trey Hyman is leading the dirty squad, the dirty team, with not only just his own individual stats, but helping his team get those wins to hold the position that they're holding, and that's exactly what you want to see. Again, there it is. This season's dirty top so far. We'll have another list at the end of the season. Want to get everybody in on, so you definitely can check that out too. Thank you for checking out this episode. Thank you for participating in this and having fun with us all season with the Dirty Club. Appreciate all the input you guys have given, including getting including the name of this podcast, every single thing else. Just know that it is appreciated and thankful for it every single day. Fact check me, double check me, triple check me. Let's go on and get this list a little bit better as we go do our final list for the end of the year. I want to hear from you. Let me know what you think. Let me know what else is going on with you. Let me know what else you want to hear in the Talk Dirty to Me podcast. And remember, as always, my advice to you is never let Jason Bourne borrow your car.
I mean, I didn't realize we were starting right now.
Thank you very much.
Thank you again for checking out the Talk Dirty to Me podcast with the Maestro. Drop a tag below and give us a piece of your mind.
So, see you next time and talk dirty to me.